So if everybody could take a minute to silence their cell phones. In one of these meetings, we're going to make it through without someone's cell phone going off. We got faith in you guys. Today, we actually do have our GLA store open in the back. We've got signs, the lock boxes, expert investor form packages available on the flash drives. And I believe there's also a few other items back there. You can also rent a GLA mailbox from the table also. Do we have any new members here today? Thank you for joining. At the end of the meeting, if everybody here, just make sure he's welcome. See if he has any questions. Thank you for joining. We also do have a new GLA secretary, and everyone met her when you came in the back. She replaced Anidra, and her name is Andrea. It's almost Anidra. Andrea. Her name is Andrea. So not to be confused with Anidra. So she's picking it up pretty quick in there. She's also a landlord, and so she understands the struggles that you've been through. She's been to eviction court, very qualified for the job to answer all your questions, and she's picking up pretty quick in there. This March is also the election that we typically would have ballots to give out. Now, we only have the same amount of members running for the GLA board that we have that want to be on it. So we've made several announcements on the election for people that want to be involved. So this year, I have myself running at constable. We've got Aaron, who's our current vice president. We've got Jason Romanat, who's our current secretary. Brian Udell, who's our treasurer. Terry Hansen, who's our executive director. Henry Tannenbaum. We got Rena, Sandy Dell, attorney Craig Federline, who was recently appointed. Also Bobby Kirby, who was recently appointed. And Allison Snell, our vendor chair. So seeing how we have the same amount of people, I just want to do a voice vote, and everybody who's in favor of electing the people that are currently in their positions to the board again, if you could just say aye, and then we'll do opposed.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Just kidding. All right, so we're going to move forward with the same board lineup that we have for 2018. And if anybody here does want to get involved, we do have things that you guys can do to be involved with the Landlord Association, and we're always looking for help and willing hands. So another new little feature on the GLA website, on the homepage, in the menu, in one of the drop-down bars, the past GLA meetings, starting with last month, our vendors and our featured speakers are available on video. So if anybody here ever misses a meeting, you can go online and watch the video. We cut out a lot of the filler stuff. We got it down to about 25 minutes. So it's not like it's going to take you all day. You can just get the good stuff. So that's also on there, and it's also on the YouTube channel. So Terry Hansen, can you give us our local government update?
I can give it to you from back here. It's not too much this time. The Netflix has the story about the Flint Police Department on 8 segments. Very interesting. Everybody should watch it and see what the police department's up against.
What's it called?
It's on Netflix. It's
Flint Town?
Flint Town, and it is free. Well, you have to have a Netflix account, but it's very good. There's 8 segments. People watching it from all over. Another thing that's coming up is the board review starts this week, and most of the cities and townships in this area. The board review sets the value with the assessor of what your property's worth, and that's how they arrive at your property taxes. So you want to watch them if they've raised them too much. If you bought a property and they made a change, they shouldn't have. I had an issue today where they made a change and they shouldn't have. They uncapped it, which meant that they could raise it any amount they want rather than only the 3% that they're allowed. So you want to protest your properties, go to the board review, have some comparables, sales, and try to get your values in line for what the houses are worth.
Excuse me, how do you know it was uncapped?
It says right on there at the bottom, it's uncapped.
Okay.
What generally happens is there's a change of change of ownership, but there's some ways that you can change them, you don't, it's not considered a change of address. If you deed it from yourself to your daughter, it's not considered a sale, and they can't uncap them, but they did in this case that I had today, 2 of them, they uncapped. And which doubled the taxes, so I mean, it was a substantial amount. So you gotta pay attention on what they're doing.
Yes. And some of them are honest mistakes, some of them I don't know what they are. I've had the same, make sure you check them, because I've had properties I've owned, I just got them, I gotta go in and fight the taxes on them, because we've done nothing to the property, it's been exactly the same way for 2 years, and it raised my SEV from 15 to 25 with no explanation. So I have to go and sit down with them and see why and get that fixed, because they didn't raise it to 3%.
And so are you taking anything other than comps to support your?
I take comparables. If I've ever listed it for sale and it didn't sell, it's like this particular property, I had it for sale for $35,000, didn't sell. So now they're trying to say it was worth 50, and that was just last year. So I take anything I can. If there's certain situations that the Matthew Gas Act would apply, I would encourage everyone here to do research on that Matthew Gas Act.
That's where if you make improvements to the.
Yes, if you make improvements, and then they have to actually depreciate those improvements by an individual basis, and those assessors really do not want you to do it, so sometimes they will just work with you just so you don't have to make them work an extra 2 hours a year on your individual property.
What is that called?
Matthew Gas Act.
And you can make so much improvements to your property, and they can't change your assessment.
So
Based on the improvement.
yes. And that Matthew Gas Act, that would be a whole general meeting just on that act, so I would encourage you guys to go online, and if you are fighting your own taxes, do research on that and see if it's something that you would want to consider. It is work on the landlord or owner's, it's work for the owner also, not just the assessor. Yep.
If they're uncapped, how much can they actually raise them per year? Is there a set amount?
No.
Once it's uncapped, they can,
There's 2 numbers on it. There's the assessed amount and the taxable amount. And if the assessed amount is way higher than the taxable amount, they can raise it all the way up there. They can't go that far.
In one jump, if it's uncapped.
So Allison Snell is going to introduce our first vendor. Please help me welcome Allison.
This evening, I would like to introduce a guy from ServPro.
Sir.
And his name is Miles Reddick. Please welcome him.
I can probably go right here. So, I think a lot of people kind of know us by our ugly green cars. But we do fire, water, and mold damage. A lot of you already have stuff, or you do it yourselves. I'm not really here to talk that much about how much insurance work we do, or every time you have a little leak to give us a call. But I'd really like to kind of be a resource for landlords. Or if you do have a question, I can come out and take a look at something and say, here's how I would do it. Let me help you. If it's a problem that's really big, yes, that's the job that I want. But the small little jobs where there's a little pipe break and you fix it already and you just need to dry it out. We also run equipment. I've gotten some authorization from our owners to start doing some like equipment rental, so that rather than having us come out there and do everything, if you just need a fan or two, we'd rather just let you use our fan, for I'm sure it'd be a very small fee to use our fans to get the place dried out so that you can get your tenants back in. That's what I like to do. So fire, like I said, water and mold. Fire is a little bit tougher to do kind of on your own, but the water damage isn't so bad. I know, everyone's kind of looked at mold. Sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's not. Most of the time it's not. But if you do run into a big problem, I'm happy to help. If you run into a small problem and you just need advice, I'd be happy to come out and check it out too. So the ServPro that I work for, they're franchises, so they're all independently owned. the one that I work for is actually 2 separate owners that have quite a few of the different like franchise locations. So I have basically all of Genesee County, all of Shiawassee County, and all of Lapeer County. So about as far south as Fenton, about as far north as Montrose, and as far east as the Water. So it's kind of that, everyone calls it kind of the 69 corridor. That's kind of our area. I am new to the area, so if I don't know quite where your address is at, the crossroads kind of makes it a little bit difficult for me initially, but I haven't sold me a house out here, so I'll be moving here soon. And yeah, that's kind of really what I wanted to talk about. One other thing is that I know it sounds like a few of you have quite a bit more than just one property that you rent out. We also have a free program called an ERP, or an Emergency Ready Plan. Some of you may have them already. Sometimes they make them into binders and they keep them at the house. What we do is it's a free application. We come out to the house, or you can actually do it yourself. You take pictures of your water shut off, your gas shut off, your electrical boxes, everything you need that in the event of an emergency, you and your tenant can pull up something and they know exactly where to shut that water off, so that you take a $5,000 loss and it's just a little bit of wiping up and using one of our fans or your own fans. So it's an awesome resource. It's got, it would have your local fire department, your police department, everything is kind of all in one and all at your fingertips. There's pictures so that you can, if you get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning that a pipe did break, you can direct them exactly where to go. We put tags, physical tags on the water shut off so that it's much easier to find, because I would say 99% of the losses that I go to, both commercially and residentially, are they're all saying they wish they would have known what to do. They see the water, they freak out, and they don't know what to do. I mean, I'll be honest with you, before I got into restoration, I probably would have done the same thing, scrambled and figured out what to do, called my dad. So, yeah, I love business cards on all of the tables. If you have questions prior to that, please give me a call. My cell phone is on there. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I'm rarely at the office. I'm usually out and about during the days. But yeah, if you have anything, please let me know.
Our speaker tonight is Attorney Craig Federline. If you guys could please help me welcome Attorney Craig.
Good evening. My name is Craig Federline. For those people that don't know me, law firm of Christensen and Federline, DC. I've been doing business in Flint since before 2006. Started my practice in 1996 in Oakland County for many years. I hail from New York. My dad was a New York City cop. My uncle is the one that got me in the real estate industry and to become a real estate lawyer. He owns about 300 apartment buildings in the Bronx. So I have a little bit of experience in the property management field since I was little. I mean, when people have normal jobs, I worked at a title company or I worked in a property management company. So I have, I guess, a lot of experience in this area, but that is what made me want to become a real estate lawyer. I didn't just fall into it. It was something that I think everyone in this room knows you kind of grow up with, and sometimes you grow into, and that is why I became a real estate lawyer. So we currently represent the city of Flint. We do their evictions. We usually handle anywhere from 40 to 70 of their evictions a month. We also handle evictions for other landlords as well in the Genesee County area. If it's outside Genesee County area, we still do them if they're complicated, but obviously we advise our landlords that the cost sometimes is prohibitive. I do a lot of real estate litigation. I have a construction arbitration that I'm going to tomorrow for 3 days. So very busy. So evictions is not the only thing we do, and we're more of a, I would say, a litigation real estate firm. But today I wanted to talk to you about what's going on with some of my clients that is, I would consider a hotter topic, and more is in the investment field. And anyone's involved in real estate, I think they're aware that there's been a lot of mortgage foreclosures, and as part of that mortgage foreclosure process, we have people buying properties at foreclosure sale. Sometimes when you get that property, it may be vacant, there may be a homeowner in that property, but what we have been specializing is there's a new law, it's MCL 600.3238, and basically it's shortening the redemption period. And what you do, it's a little bit of a complicated process. We've created a notice where you give notice to the occupant. You have to post it on the door, you have to mail it. Depending on the judge I end up in front of, they've created additional measures. Judge McCabe has required more than other judges. We go to Flint, we have no problem. Normally the judge is asking us what the law means when it comes to this kind of a complicated topic. But the point is, you can shorten that redemption period from 6 months and potentially get access to that property in 60 days, which from 6 months, which is a huge advantage for those people that are investing and they want to get control of that property as soon as possible. The other reason why people want to do this is because there's always the fight to get the occupant. To have the occupant, quick claim deed their redemption to you, and you purchase the redemption rights and then redeem it at the last minute. So our office is dealing with a lot of redemption certificates. One side's fighting over another, and it becomes one investor versus another. And sometimes I have one client and another client. I'm sorry, I got to stay out of this deal because it's becoming that. It's become a little bit litigious because you can make 80 to 100 grand on a single property, and you could be fighting over a quick claim deed. So that's really what I wanted to focus on, is that statute 600.3238. Wanted to tell you about my experience, and then I wanted to open up for questioning or additional topics you might be interested in. I do also handle commercial and residential tax appeals, mostly commercial, because I find the residential, there's a small claims process you can go through. It's very easy. I could advise you as your lawyer through that process, but basically it's not complicated at all. The thing is, if it's residential, you have to make sure you go through the board of review first, okay? And then you have to file by the end of June. If it's commercial, you gotta file by the end of May. There's a deadline, strict deadline. You miss the deadline, you're stuck with those taxes. And the key other mistake people make, and I heard people in here, you have to look at the taxable value and the assessed value both. Sometimes you'll see your assessment go up, but your taxable value is not going up. So it's important that you watch that taxable value, because that's really what you're being taxed on, 2 times the taxable value, 2 times the assessed. So I would provide a free consultation, obviously, in my office for anyone that has any questions on real estate, on a tax appeal, or any other legal matter. And I'd like to open it up for questioning, if that's okay.
How does the land bank acquire their properties? Does it have to go through the tax sale first and then the land bank picks it up?
That is typically how it's occurring. I'm dealing with the land bank fairly regularly, but it is going through tax sale, and what happens is they get to pick and choose the ones they want. So the land bank ends up controlling a lot of property. I had one commercial investor that's trying to buy a piece of property from the land bank. The land bank wants to demolish it. We want to keep it, but the land bank, you have to have a really good relationship with them to buy their properties. There's a form online on the land bank website where you could submit a request to purchase from them, but the key is getting together with the attorney and the members of the land bank to try to get those properties. But yes, they pretty much get their pick. But they're getting filled. They can't take everything. Next. Oh, that was easy. That's good. Any other questions?
I have a question about when a house is, you can't live in it. There's no furnace, no whatever pipes. And the taxable value is the same as the other houses. How does that handle? Can you fight that, I guess?
Well, the answer is yes, you can fight it. Okay. The problem is you're going to need an appraisal. The appraisals aren't cheap, but you're going to need an appraisal, and they want the appraiser to go in there stating what's wrong with the house, the condition of the home, because the condition of the home does affect its value. So yes, you can fight it.
As far as the land bank, is there any set time, amount of time that they hold their properties, or?
No, that's the problem. The land bank is an interesting topic, but they decide when the land bank first started, as you know, they decided what properties they wanted to keep what properties they wanted to discard, what properties they wanted to sell back on land contract, because a lot of times when they would get it back, you could buy it back as the homeowner, or if you're a neighboring property, they'll be more likely to give it to you. But they are a political arm, and you need to do a little bit of negotiation in dealing with the land bank. It helps to know people. Go ahead.
On a land contract forfeiture, you get 90 days for the purchaser to redeem the property. If they paid part of the money, can you still get the forfeiture, or do you have to return the money?
Oh, good question. I like that. All right, we do a lot of land contract forfeitures. Now, first of all, with the 90 days, there's two options on a judgment. One is 90 days, and one is 6 months.
Whether it's half paid for.
Correct, whether it's more than half paid for. But the thing is, when you send out your land contract forfeiture notice, you're not supposed to collect any money after that.
And if you do?
And if you do, we've been successful getting those cases dismissed.
They had them?
Yes. Yep, you can get them dismissed. And so you're not supposed to collect money afterwards. The other important note is in a land contract forfeiture, you can pay the taxes. What I tell my clients that come in on land contract forfeitures is you don't want to forfeit somebody for one payment. They're going to have 3 months to come up with one payment, 90 days. And that's 3 months from the judgment, because you still have time to go through the court procedure, which is not, it's usually pretty quick, but you're also sometimes having to pay for posting on a home, depending on the judge. And there are new judges on our courts now, and they're coming up with new rules. So I would highly recommend that, you do not accept any payments. You let that process go. But if you have outstanding taxes, pay them. Add that to your land contract forfeiture. Always add to your land contract forfeiture that they failed to produce insurance certificate to you if you can't confirm that there's insurance on the property. That's a breach in and of itself, and you can go ahead and purchase insurance after you send them a certified letter and they don't supply it to you. You purchase insurance, well, now your land contract amount that they have to come up with is this high. My last case, we went on in front of a new judge in Flint. I truly believe I did not start the process. So this is an example of you starting the process, there's a problem, I get hired as a lawyer to help finish the problem. And what happened was, the judge saw that there was a lot of money paid on this land contract. So the equities were in favor of the land contract than the purchaser, okay? And what the judge did in that case, ordered, they didn't show up right away, so they ordered a publication for 3 weeks. We ended up spending over $1,000 on publication fees. Well, did the judge help that person?
No.
No, I had to have sidebar. No, the judge did not help that person, because now that person has to come up with even more money within the 90-day time period. About, in this case, it was a 6-month time period because they had paid more than half. But the judge the judge was trying to protect the person, but actually made it worse for them. And so and unfortunately with land contract forfeitures, they get more expensive because you have to give personal service on a land contract forfeiture. So if you don't get personal service, then you have to do alternative service. So I find that land contract forfeitures, you might go to an attorney, get charged one rate, but then all of a sudden, now you got a motion fee, now you got a second court appearance potentially. So they're typically more expensive than just your standard straight eviction. Did that answer your question?
So question on that, you accepted payment. I have a lot of my tenants set up where they drew in with these special bank deposit slips where they deposit their rent directly into my account. I have land contracts that are set up the same way. So I can't really stop them from putting the money in the account. So if someone's in default, they put $1,000 in my account, do I cut a check back?
Absolutely, with a certified letter.
Okay.
That lets them know encloses attached judgment that was entered against you. Here's your money back. Do not just direct deposit money into my account. You need to either pay the money in full to me or to the court within the terms of the judgment.
Okay.
And also on your request for an order of eviction, there's a box. Have you been paid or not paid? And sometimes, like in an eviction situation, you can file a motion and notify the judge if accept partial payment, and then try to, a lot of times the judge will give the tenant some additional time without you actually giving the money back. But you are taking the risk that the judge could dismiss the case out.
What's the process on getting an immediate writ for non-payment if you know that the tenant's abandoned, the consumers is out of their name, neighbors have said this, the door's wide open? I know you can go in and get it. I've heard some landlords get that, but
Not likely, okay? What you can do is you can go in and you can file, I always recommend a 30-day termination even in that.
well, this is them abandoned. They're not coming back, but I still want the writ because they've left stuff there that I don't want.
Well, you don't want to wait the time period. So what you can do is you can go to the court on a motion and get an order from the judge, and they will typically give you this order that you just want a temporary order to go in and secure the property. But they're not going to turn over possession. They're not going to turn over possession. Depends on the situation. I guess I don't know all of your facts, but a lot of times the judge is going to follow the rules, but they will give you the power, especially if you have an attorney, to secure a property.
So Huntington Bank offers a lot for any kind of customer. We're always here for you. We love to get to know you, make sure that we're doing the best we can for you and helping you in any way possible. So we have a lot of products that go for consumers, that go for landlords, tenants, and different options that you guys might enjoy. So one of the things that we have is a community business account, which is, I heard the president speak that he has it set up so that his renters can come in and deposit their rent that way. You're more than welcome to do that. For your rent, we've had people set them up by addresses, we've had people set them up by different numbers. The only thing that we require at the bank is that the tenant does have the account number. They can't come in and look them up by your guys' name or address or anything like that. So what we suggest is when you open the account, you take the little account cards and give them to your tenant, and as they come in, you can deposit. The neat thing about that is we have treasury management. So if there is a question or you have a problem with a tenant and you need to track what they paid, treasury management can go back and literally send you pictures of everything that they've done for you in the last 6 months. So we have treasury management, we have merchant services, we have personal accounts, we have all kinds of stuff. Anything that you guys need, Huntington Bank can do for you. The neat thing about us is we're from the Myers. Myers are open 7 days a week. Saturdays 9 to 5, Sundays 11 to 4. Monday through Thursday, we're open till 7, and Friday till 8 o'clock. So you guys always have access to us. The other neat thing about Huntington versus other banks is we're a personal relationship bank. So if I were to open an account with you, I become your personal banker. Anything that you need from that point on would come through me. You don't call the little computer person, you don't call anybody else, you call me directly and I take care of it for you. So we do have some information for you. I've got some mortgage rates for you. We have some business cards for you guys. Any questions or anything like that for us, Huntington is looking for relationships all the time. So, thanks.